Hello, good morning. Welcome to your English class. I hope you are doing amazing in this cold day. Today, we are going to continue with the grammar. Yesterday, we practiced comparatives. I hope you remember the comparatives and all the rules, the ER, the more, the Y at the end, the consonant, vowel, consonant. Because today we have the second part of the grammar. Today we are going to practice superlatives. What are those? Okay, superlatives compare three or more nouns. Remember, comparatives only two, superlatives three or more. And they show the highest degree or the most quality. So when we use comparatives, we have two, and we say, I am taller than fulanito, I am smaller than you. So we have two. In comparative, we take three, and we mention only the highest degree or the most quality. For example, we have a pig, a dog, and a lion. I cannot use comparatives because I have three animals. If I use comparatives, I only compare two. For superlatives, in this case, I'm going to mention the dog, this one. The dog is the smallest. From all of my nouns, the dog is the smallest. So I'm mentioning the highest degree or the most quality. In this case, small, the smallest. Another example with the lion. This is a lion. The lion is the biggest. So from all three, the lion is the biggest. I'm mentioning the most quality. If you pay attention, in comparatives, we use ER, than. Smaller than, bigger than. For superlative, we use the, and est. So we are going to check the rules and we are going to practice with some examples. Let's start with rule number one. Remember the rules for the previous grammar? We count syllables, remember? So we have one syllable noun or word. For example, remember big is only one. We have big. We have tall, only one. Tall. We have small, it's only one syllable, small. And to change the one syllable to the superlative, we add, as you see before, est. est, I think is kind of, okay, I'm gonna mark it better, est. So we use est, for example, tall, the tallest. Don't forget that. We also use the small, the smallest, right? The small, the smallest. And big, biggest, right? And remember, we use here also the consonant, vowel, consonant rule. Consonant, vowel, consonant. So, repeat the last one, the biggest. That rule is very, very important. So, consonant, vowel, consonant. In this case, is vowel, consonant, consonant? No. In this case, the last three, the same. Vowel, consonant, consonant. So, only in this one, consonant, vowel, consonant. We double the last consonant. That's why we have double G, the biggest. And for example, let's compare all the schools in this zone. All the schools here. So I will say my school is the biggest. My school is the biggest. So, for example, we have here the school, we have here another school, we have here another school, right here, and we have here another school. So in this case, I am comparing four schools, and I mentioned that my school is the biggest. So I mentioned the highest quality. So that is for rule number one. So we have one syllable noun. We add to the word est. And that is for rule number one. Let's continue to rule number two. Now, rule number one syllable noun or adjective. For rule number two, let's go to the other one. Two or more syllable adjective. Two or more. For example, we have honest. It's two, right? Honest. We also have narrow. Narrow is like this. For example, the hallway, if it's narrow, only one person can walk. Narrow. It is another example. Do you remember the rule for the two or more syllable adjective for comparatives? The rules are very similar. We only change some words. So, what do we do? In this case, remember, always use the. Always have the. So, for this to be a superlative, we add the most. In comparatives, there was more, like more honest, more narrow. In this case, we use the most. Honest will be the most honest. Narrow, the most narrow. Some adjectives, some two-syllable adjectives, based on the ending, they could use both. You could say narrowest or the most narrow, but for honest, no, only the most honest. But I would recommend you to practice this way because it's easier to memorize. Two-syllable, the most. That's it. So you don't have to go all complicated. And this is the most honest person in the room. So how do I say the opposite? If it's not honest at all, I use the least. For example, the least honest. So the most honest person will always tell me the truth. The least honest person will always lie. So we have these two like opposites to mention the opposite of the adjective. Let's practice with narrow this word. This room is the most narrow in the school. This room is the most narrow in the school. So we have, for example, this is, okay, here is the door. It opens like this. We have the desk and the chairs. I'm gonna draw this very fast. I don't want to draw the media. So this is one classroom, and this is my classroom. So we have only one table here, one table here, one table here. So the most narrow, right? Narrow. This is A, this is B. And this room is the most narrow in the school. Very good, we have two. Only two more. Let's continue to rule number 3. For rule number 3, we have two syllable adjectives ending in Y. For example, happy ends with Y. Easy ends with Y. Crazy ends in Y. For this case, do you remember in comparatives what happened here? The Y goes, right? And we change it to I. And then I continue with the normal EST. Happy in superlative, the happiest. I change the Y. Easy, the easiest. Crazy, the craziest. So one more time, the Y, we take it away and we change it for an I. And then I continue with EST. Similar to the comparative, right? This is very, very easy. You only remember with two syllables. And the last letter is a Y, goodbye, and change it. For example, this is the slogan for this place. Have you ever gone to Disneyland? Disneyland in California? They have this message. The happiest place on earth. The happiest place on earth. So we use happiest. If you ever go, have you ever gone to Disney World, Disneyland? You know this slogan. The happiest place on earth. So from all the places, all in the world, in California is the happiest. Maybe, I don't know. So we have these 3 rules. Let's go to the last one, the irregular adjectives. Finally, number 4, irregular adjectives. So they are the same for the comparatives. They are also irregular in superlatives. Remember, these don't follow the rules. So we have to memorize them. Memorize the adjectives and their superlative and comparative form. I'm going to use right now only the most common, good and bad. There are more, but they're not very common to use, so we are going to leave them for later. Right now we only have good and bad. In comparative, good, better. Bad, worse. In superlative, good is the best. Bad is the worst. So, if you want to be all dramatic, all, that kind of emotions, you can say, today is the worst day ever. So from all the days I have had, today is the worst, the most horrible. Superlatives. Or if you want to be positive, because let's be positive, let's bring good energy. Today is the best. Maybe it is your birthday, maybe it's Christmas, maybe you have a celebration. So you say, today is the best day ever. Superlative, from all the days in my life, today is the best. And that's it for superlatives, the 3 rules and the irregular adjectives, the exceptions. So we're going to practice once again in the notebook. We're going to continue with your class book and workbook another day because this is very important. Sometimes the grammar in the book is very short and I want to give you more practice because if we practice more, we get better faster. So it is very important to practice, practice, practice. So will you see me in the next video while I explain the activities? Right now, this is the grammar presentation. So let's go to the activities.